Okay, some clarifications and summary from last time. We said the whole thing is based on bhavana. The question is, what is bhavana? In this context, it will be a feeling strong enough to make you do something. Because any emotion can also be called as a bhavana. But that emotion has to be a little bit strong, transformative. How are you feeling now? Nice. इसमें कुछ that is too small to be called a bhavana. What about the next? I'm feeling irritated. That is a bhavana. No.
Something like chodana.
No. Bhavana is a strong emotion. Now, he says, Vidhi Vakyas have bhavanas. Create bhavana in you. Okay? You hear about heaven and you want to go there. Or you hear about, you're trying for a kid, as it is a bhavana. Then you hear, this ritual will give it to you. You want to do it. What in that Vidhi Vakya created that bhavana in you? What it revealed? The end result. No? Heaven, child. This is called Arthi Bhavana. I want that. I wanted that. It's revealing this. ऐसा है हाँ मेरे को चाहिए बस finished. Like that I want it. Then I also want to know how to go about doing it. Where will you get those details from? The Vakya that describes it. Na? This is called Shabdi Bhavana. Correct? Arthi and Shabdi, two fundamental bhavana. Arthi Bhavana and Shabdi Bhavana. When I hear about something, it is Artha, the meaning, the object of those words that create the desire in me. Na? So Arthi Bhavana. Then Shabdi, how to go about getting it? That's given by the Shabda. So the first division is clear.
So Vidhi, any Vidhi Vakya will have both these
Both the aspects.
bhavana.
Yes. Shabdi and Arthi. Okay. Alright. Then the question comes in the 3-4 other things that we saw. Okay. Hmm? Yeah. Okay. Now, he says, Utpatti Vidhi and Viniyoga Vidhi will become with the Arthi Bhavana. Okay? Because Utpatti is also Ajnata Jnapakam. Okay? Which will be, you're coming to know of it. No? Utpatti. You are coming to know of it. And, okay, this is something that you can do. So that will come under Arthi Bhavana.
So can we say that it creates
that bhavana. Yeah, that's why it's called Utpatti Vidhi. Yes. Okay. And Adhikara and Prayoga. Are you qualified to do it? Who is qualified to do it? All that will come in the detailing. Na? So, and Prayoga, how to go about doing it? Okay, how to go about Viniyoga. It's called Viniyoga here. How to go about doing all the rituals, etc., etc. So that will be the Arthi Bhavana. So simple actually. Yeah. Simple. That's why he said the first thing first. Arthi and Shabdi. Yeah. So they are not watertight compartments. They will overlap. Because you are talking about one vidhi. One vidhi. So these are just technical differences that come in. Okay. And we said the maximum you can talk about Vedanta is Ajnata Jnapakam. That is like Ardhangikara actually. Strictly speaking, it is not Ajnata Jnapakam also. Strictly speaking. Why? न तो आत्मा एकांतेन अज्ञातम अस्मत् प्रत्यय विषयत्वात्. It is not totally unknown. Ekanteन avishya gets it there. Avishya meaning is not that you are not totally unknown. You know I am, no? That much is known. That is why I said, long back I have said this, that even though the definition of a pramanam is ajnata jnapakam, okay, and that is elaborated as abhadita anadhigata jnana janakam, but ajnata jnapakam is. In Vedanta it's more of ajnana nivartakam pramana. The pramana is more to negate the ignorance. Because what is there in my pocket? I don't know. There will be ajnata jnapakam. You don't know what is there in my pocket. Maybe something you don't even suspect for all you know. Ajnata jnapakam. But here is not like that. I know I am. Therefore only the ignorance centered around what I am has to go. Therefore it's more of an ajnana nivartakam pramana. More of ajnana nivartaki. Yeah. Old statement events like that. Yeah, because that is what it is. It negates ignorance about myself. That Natu Atma Ekantena Avishaya has got lot of nuances to it. Because there is where the whole thing comes. And that's the only reason why Vedanta works. Vedanta works only because of that. Any other reason it wouldn't work.
So, Swamiji, then what can be covered in Ajnata Jnapak? Because you always have knowledge of something or a desire.
Heaven, do you know?
I don't know, but there is a desire. I know, I mean, that way I don't know, but I've heard of it. I know what
From
heaven
where have you
is.
heard of it? Without the Shastra, you wouldn't have heard of it. Yeah.
But I don't know that because of the Shastras, suppose initially.
That's okay. Yeah, that's okay. That's like saying, how do you know there is fire? I know, I saw the smoke. I may not know the process of how I've used it. I may not know the technical details of how Anumanam works. But I used it, no? I used it. Similarly, somewhere or the other I heard. It is common knowledge in the society. That's why we say, Loke Shastra Prasiddham. You don't know the details, that's all. There is nobody who will ask. You hear about heaven and say, oh, kya hota hai? Nobody will ask that. You may not believe in it, you may not want it, you may not this thing. That's a different thing. But practice will be there. So there will be overlapping areas. There will be. Main thing to remember is bhavana, which belongs to the artha, the object. I care about it, I want it. So it created that desire. Utpatti. And Viniyoga. You are supposed to do this. Similarly, arthi. Shabdi. How do I know how to go about doing all this? Shabdi. Adhikara, Viniyoga. Who is this thing to do it? Who can do it? Viniyoga, etc. Yeah. Simple. So all these get classified like that. And Ajnata Jnapakam is like Ardhangikara. Okay, okay. If you want to look at Vidhis like that, Vedanta falls in that because what you don't know is being revealed. So that much we can accept, maximum. But more of Ajnana Nivritti than Ajnata Jnapakam. Because Atma is known as I at least. Okay. And now all these Purvapakshas we saw elaborately what it is about. Now the whole thing has to be answered. The Purvapaksha was an Akshepa Sangati for the previous sutras. Previous sutras you said this, that is not tenable. Therefore you have to answer it with a fresh sutra. So the fourth sutra comes to answer all these Purvapakshas. What we did in the last two classes were purely Purvapaksha, okay? For saying, don't take that as Siddhanta. Okay, Garabad ho jayega. Because sometimes when you listen to Vedanta, you don't know ye Purvapaksha hai ke Siddhanta. It all sounds very similar. That is why one of the qualifications is what? Viveka. Be able to think clearly, separate out this one, that. Okay. Yeah. Because unavoidable. Alright. Then the answer. Answer is what? Tattu Samanvaya. That's the answer. Okay. Tattu Samanvaya. Right. What does it mean? Right. Tu Shabdaha Purvapaksha Gyatyartham. Tu Shabda is used to negate the Purvapaksha. No, that is not true. Okay. Tat stands for what? Brahma. Unspecified always. Tat Brahma. Tat meaning Brahma. Sarvajnam Sarvashakti. Jagat Utpatti Sthiti Laya Karana. This is how Brahman was revealed in the second sutra. Okay? Sarvajnam Sarvashakti Jagat Utpatti Sthiti Laya Karana. Vedanta Shastrad Avagamyate. Okay? Tad Brahma Avagamyate Vedanta Shastrad. Shastra Yonitvatiti. Katham. How? Samanvaya. Because of the harmony. Samanvaya is what? Because of the one word accountants will love is if you use the word reconciliation. It has some understanding because there seems to be a lot of vakyas. So Samanvaya, it all has to come to one point. No? What is the core issue? That finding the core issue is the Samanvaya. So harmony, reconciliation, because there are this thing of Nirgunam Brahma, there is Saguna Brahma Vakyas, Nirguna Brahma Vakyas, okay? Upasana Vakyas. All these are there in the Shastra, in the Upanishad itself. Therefore, you have to some sort of, through analysis, harmonize them, reconcile them, use whatever term, but the understanding is this. You all have to come to a core issue there. Okay, Samanvaya. And what is that? He is talking in the next verse. Sarvesham hi Vedanta. Sarveshu hi Vedanteshu Vakyani Tatparyena Tasya Arthasya Pratipadakatvena Samangati Sanugatani Anugatani Sam Anugatani. He says, how do you say that? Sarveshu hi Vedanta Vakyeshu. All Vedanta Vakyas. Take any section. Tatparyena, with great intention, tasya arthasya pratipadakatvena. It reveals the same thing about Brahman itself. Okay? Sam anugatani, samyak anugatani. This is to be understood. This is what is understood. That all the Vedanta Vakyas, irrespective of where it is, but when you say all Vedanta Vakyas, what you have to do? You have to take it section wise. All of them as what? Ekasmin Bimbe Tatparyam. Advaita Vastuni Tatparyam. Not else. Now this he has to prove now. This is a statement of intention. So this sutra is going to establish that. Okay. And little bit, let's connect up with that vidhi thing, because that vidhi thing can bug before I go forward. If by tatparya, yeah, Karthik, you have a question?
Yes, Swami. Sorry, I am just still trying to understand the evolution of this Purva Paksha. So it started with Jaimini's.
That has to be connected with action.
Yes, Swamiji. What I wanted to clarify was, if Jaimini wrote sutras on the Karma Kanda, then he would have. I would imagine he would intentionally have skipped the Vedanta part of it. Right?
Definitely, he skipped it.
So the Purva Paksha has just brought it in
Brought
on
it
its
in.
own accord.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
So look at it. If it is Nirgunam Brahman that is being revealed, or Jagat Karanam, same Brahman is Jagat Karanam also. The question is, how can you connect up that with any vidhi? Because what his argument was, either it's Arthavada to the first section, or it's subservient to the vidhi found in the Upanishad itself. Okay, Atmavare Drashtavya. Ending up with Nididhyasatavya. So it is part of that. So he's saying, if I am presenting Brahman as Ekameva Advitiyam, where is Karta, Devata, etc. differences? Because for a vidhi, he said first argument was, it is revealing the nature of the Karta and the Devata, etc. Correct? First argument in the Purva Paksha. So how can it reveal the Karta, Devata, etc. when it is presenting both of them as one and the same thing? Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. Yo Veda Nihitam Guhaya. So you are in fact dismissing the difference between Karta and Devata. So actually it is a dismissal of karma. Because where is the Karta? And you can say Bhadita, Anuvrutti, etc. But the Swarupa wise there is no Karta. Therefore, where can you do karma? So it cannot become subservient to karma by revealing Karta, Bhokta, etc. Then the question is it subservient to the Upanishad Vidhi, Atmavare Drashtavya? There also you can say, in what an upasana can be an action. Okay. First you invoke the Devata, then you have a surrender, etc. All that, because there is movement in it. Okay. So an upasana can be a manasam karma. And there are plenty of upasanas in the Upanishad. Now we have to see what is the purpose of those upasanas. Is it independent of Tattvamasi or is it subservient to Tattvamasi? That we have to see. For him, all the Vedanta Vakyas of Satyam Jnanam Anantam, etc. should be subservient to Atmavare Drashtavya. Okay? Because Tavya Pratyaya is there, it's taken as a Vidhi. Now, if you are saying it's subservient to a Vidhi, an Upasana, then there should be movement in what you are doing. First you invoke, then you give asanam, then you do this, all that manasam. Or Mano Brahmi, you have an idea of Brahman and you are invoking that in your mind, etc. So basically an upasana will involve whether Kaikam, whether it is physical puja, or Manasam. It will involve what? Niskrishta Vastuni, Utkrishta Vastu Aropaha. Correct? So for that there will be a process. In the stone you are seeing Maheshwara. There is a process for that. Elaborate, prana, pratishtha, etc. is outside. What is inside, the same process is involved. Okay? Like if you are doing a Manasa Puja, that's an upasana. If you are doing any other upasana, give me any other upasana that you are familiar with. Anyone done Reiki or something like that? Usme bhi kya hai? You are invoking the blue light coming in, all that thing, na? Going through all your chakras. There is a movement and a process about it. Why? The higher energies are being invoked into the lower energies. Correct? Utkrishta vastu, Nishkrishta vastu, aropa. It is there. Any upasana, you'll have it. Okay. Now, here, in Nitidhyasana, what are you doing? Let us say that everyone needs Nitidhyasana. So you can't strictly make a rule like that. Okay? But let us, for the time being, accept it. What are you doing in Nitidhyasana? Consciousness. Shuddham. Aropa hai kidhar? I am not thinking, think of yourself as nice, holy, clean. That's all New Age nonsense. But it has some effect, has some use. We are not doing that. The Shastra is revealed, you are Brahman and you are owning up the knowledge in Nitidhyasana. So where is the movement? It ends where it begins. Remember, this is very important. Nitidhyasana is not an action. It ends where it begins. This is the crux of the thing. That ending where it begins. No action ends where it begins. Yeah. Called for Ona Sadhya. I had a great one on Friday. Eating action. Does it end where it begins? It began with taking the first one. Does it end there? It doesn't end there. There is a process and Nitidhyasana ends where it begins. You see yourself as consciousness. Shuddham. Okay, there is no movement, no action. Yes, Anchit, you have a question.
Yes, Swamiji. So, even in Nitidhyasana, the samskaras do get changed. The thought patterns get changed in the mind.
Get broken. Samsaras get broken. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
but look at what you are doing in this thing. There is no movement here. There is no action. You are only recalling the teaching.
Yeah.
And that is not the, again, then the question will come, which is pradhana? Shravanam is pradhanam or Nididhyasana is pradhanam?
Shravanam.
Yeah, because we are using a means of knowledge only in Shravanam. In Nididhyasana, it is repeating the means of knowledge. So no new knowledge is gained. Therefore, there is nothing happening in Nididhyasana that is independent of Shravanam. So Nididhyasana becomes an angi for Shravanam. Shravanam becomes the main thing, yeah? Because the pramana vyapara takes place there. Therefore, whatever is revealed in the Upanishad cannot become as subservient for the Vidhi. The Vidhi which is independent, Karmakanda, first section, or within the Upanishad itself. Yeah. Another question can be asked. In a Vidhi, first you know about something, then you do it. The whole Arthi Bhavana comes where you have to know something first, no? Then you have to desire it. Okay? That is Arthi Bhavana. Then you have to come to how to do, etc., etc., Prayoga Vidhi, etc. All that will come to. So after knowing, you have to do. Now, Nididhyasana as part of Shravanam is meant for knowing, or after knowing you do something with it? It is meant to clarify your knowledge. There is nothing done after knowledge. I know, I am Brahman. Abhi kya karne ka? Go have a cup of coffee or what is to be done afterwards? Nothing is to be done afterwards. Then you are saying by karma are you getting to get it? No, because Nididhyasana is not a karma, no movement. Can you see both the arguments coming in? So after knowing you don't have to do. For knowing also you don't have to. Pramana has to work. That means Shravanam you have to gain it, really speaking. Then, because there are some problems in your mind, you are taking care of those problems by Mananam and Nididhyasana. That's all. Pramana operates in Shravanam. If you have not gained insights in Shravanam, you cannot gain it in Nididhyasana. For some of us it clicked, tube light. Remember the joke? Yeah.
But for knowing there is Shravanam, which is when the pramana is revealed.
With the pramana vyapara.
So it is not by will, therefore it's not an action.
In fact, if you use your will in Shravanam, you will get into problems.
So, Swamiji, initially for a student, I mean for a very new student, it is Parama Purushartha, there's that. But at the initial stage only, you have to break this, that it is not
Karma
by
orientation,
karma, it
yes.
is because otherwise that karma
Orientation
orientation.
will continue. Yes. Yeah, Karthik.
Swamiji, for a wise person, it almost feels the opposite, that it's Utkrishta Vastuni Niskrishta Vastu Arupita. I mean, for your
Yeah, correct. After that, you are taking on the role of a finite guy. Yes.
Exactly. It's other way around.
Other way around it becomes. Correct. That's why it's not an upasana. That's why in the Gita, Krishna has talked about akarmani karmaya pashe, karmani akarmaya. All those verses are very, very important. Yeah, has to link it up all that, because that is what shows the freedom.
Because there is superimposition, if any, is deliberate superimposition.
Yeah, deliberate.
Natural.
Or it may be natural also in the
natural.
sense, because, but without ignorance.
Correct.
It's a superimposition without ignorance. By old habits, you can say. The old samskara, which is fine. Why? Because it makes functioning possible. How will the wise person function? If by old samskaras, this much has to exist. No? You can't say all old samskaras has to go. Then you'll be sitting down somewhere not moving. Samadhi mein baith jayega. At least people will call it samadhi. Why? I'm just sitting down, not moving, not doing. Because superimposition has not taken place. Deliberate or otherwise, or samskara based. Then what will happen?
So how the will come in Shravanam?
Shravanam, will does not come. That's what I'm saying. Will comes to bring you here. Arey, barish hai, ye hai, wo hai, okay. There are 101 reasons. Arey, it's getting cold in UK, early morning, 6 o'clock class hai. Yeah, get up, have a cup of coffee and be ready for that. So, will is for all that. Yeah. Then what? Then you expose your mind to the teaching. You just expose. Especially when unfolding classes take place. When you are unfolding the truth, what are you doing? You are letting the mind go along with the words until you see the truth of it. That's it. Then you get to know. So before there is no karma, after there is no karma. In your life there can be karma to get your mind ready. You can't not stress that enough. You have to stress that part of it, because life there has to be karma. Living makes you ready for Vedanta. But not just living. Living intelligently. And living and learning from the experience of life. Yeah. Simple. One learning. I do so much of good for people, but people don't like me. Okay, about it. I'm doing so much of good for people, why are people not liking me? See, if I do good for people, people will like me. They'll respect the fact that you have chosen to do good, you're helpful, this, that. But why are they not liking you in spite of that? Simple learning from life. I'm sure all of us have been somewhere or there in some situation like this. Maybe in the name of helping, I'm literally taking over their life. Who likes that? Or maybe the way I'm helping is disrespectful. The way I'm helping is disrespectful. I mean right, I mean well, but the way I'm doing it is... We have not helped the way they wanted, Soumya saying that. Correct? So as receivers, we have to see the intention behind it and appreciate the intention. So we may not be very happy with the process. So are you getting all that? So all these are from where will you learn all this? Tell me. Which book is going to talk about all this? I mean, 101 situations like this in life. Living makes you learn it. No? You analyze your experiences. Why is it happening? Ask people around you, why did you get upset? Ask your, for men, no problems. Ask their wives. You have nice solid feedback right there. Yeah, there is wisdom in the words of a forthright woman. But jokes apart, get feedback from people around. Like I got a feedback, which was I had to take it seriously. In a discussion about with our Guru Bhais and Swamiji, when you say something, nobody will ever oppose it. I said, why? I'm inviting people to oppose it. No, when you present something forcefully, you seem too intimidating. As if you knows of truth. What is intimidating for a person who knows the truth? No, but you come out very strong. I said, okay, I'll tone it down. Act like the senior man. Thoda sedate. But valid feedback hota hai na. So feedback helps everyone. Who doesn't it help? Only when you're giving a feedback, talk about things which he may not have thought about, Not that I didn't know that I can be intimidating. I'm a small guy, physically. I'm not a big guy. Not even 5.5 feet. Abhi kya bigness? But there was this group of people when I passed by tea shop, 16th Road corner, and the tea shop guy comes. He started shouting, Vande Mataram, Vande Mataram. First day I left it at me. I just looked at them and went off. Second day, same thing. I said, no, this is disrespectful of Vande Mataram. Forget me means okay, not a problem. So I walked up to them. What the hell do you think you're doing? In Hindi as well. This is not some slogan that you are shouting. This is something sacred. And I saw fear in their eyes. There were 3 of them there. All of them bigger than me. I saw fear in their eyes. I said, oh, I'm smaller than them. They're 3 to 1. Nobody else around. So no witnesses, etc. to what's happening. Why are they getting so scared about me? Could be intimidating. Because my focus energy can be intimidating. Okay. So I knew that I didn't expect teachers to be intimidated. A strong presentation.
They must have thought you genuine artist.
Huh?
They must have thought you genuine artist.
No, tone it down. So like this, to get feedback from people always helps. Always helps. This is learning from life. Now who will say all this? Which book will say you should not be intimidating? Koi bolega? It is Satyam Priyam Hitam. That's all they will say. Maximum in your communication. Satyam Priyam, Satyam hai, Priyam bhi hai na. One good thing I used to like about a Guru Bhai meets where अरे सीधा बोल सकते हैं मुंह को ऊपर बोल सकते. But now I realize there are people who are, when I went to study Vedanta, these characters were not born यार. अभी क्या है? Those characters will feel intimidated ना. कैसा बोलेगा मुंह को? I mean, he's very friendly and all. He treats us as equals. But he was studying Vedanta before I was born. So these type of things, living life gets you ready for the whole thing. Yeah. Living life. Yeah. Of course, after that is my choice. Let it be intimidating. क्या फर्क पड़ा? But if I want their opinion, I should. Yeah, I can think this. क्या फर्क पड़ा? They have to learn to deal with it. Yeah, but we have to work together. We have to do things together. Then I can't do that. Yeah. So, like this, life prepares you for Vedanta. So there will be karma coming into the picture. Okay. There, karma will come. That's why it's very. See, what is the Shastra will not give you all these details. Chittasya shuddhaye karma. That's all. Chitta Shuddhi. Now, what is Chitta Shuddhi? Finding out where the problems in your life are. relationship issues, etc., etc. All that will tell you, no? It is not meant for setting right every issue in your life. Some issues can't be set right. Let it be. Live with it. Come on. This is not. It helps you manage your life to an extent, but it is not only about life management. This is about your growth in it. Your growth. So that you are ready for Vedanta. That's the idea. Because there is nothing like all the certain examples they gave were about relationships. There's nothing like perfection in a relationship. No? Not meant to be. Perfection doesn't exist in anything. Not meant to be. Let it be. Like the Gujaratis say, Reva de, Reva de. I like that statement. There's a certain dismissive about nuance to it also. That's good. Don't bother too much about it. Yeah. So we have a milder expression in mind. Dajiya. What can we do about Dajiya? So anything it becomes like that. You don't have to do much about it. It's okay. Let it be. So karma for getting you ready for Vedanta. But once you come to Vedanta, it's what you say in management. The skills that brought you from there to here will not take you from here to there. So karma got you here. Now you have to learn to drop that. And what happens is, people who come to Vedanta and understand Vedanta well are generally strong-willed people. Because they achieved things in life. No. Only those people will understand Vedanta well. If you're a namby-pamby idiot, bhajan karo. God's grace be on you to do something. Or kya bolega? Not that bhajan singing can be done by a strong person also. There was a bhajan singer. When he was young, when we were young, he used to sing. He has come in the ashram and sang in front of Swamiji also. Hari Om Sharan. That guy was such a powerful person. His personality, his voice.
Booming
Yeah,
voice.
booming voice. After that, 20 years later, I heard him. Now he looks so namby-pamby, I don't like to even look at him. You know what happened to him? He got married. I'm not joking. What I heard him was before marriage. After marriage, he had a whole image change. That full beard, rough look, all that went very groomed hair, groomed this thing. Yeah, iska power chalega. Grooming is fine, but are you losing your sense of power with the grooming? That was your USP. Anup Janara cannot sound like Hari Om Sharan. Hari Om Sharan should not sound like Anup Janara. Each have their USP. Okay. Okay, digressing, but there is point to be understood in all this. Okay. Yeah. Point to be understood. Yeah. Alright. So karma gets you here. Here drop it. After that, drop that will. You are a strong-willed person who comes to Vedanta. The only strong-willed people, successful people, who have the potential for success. You may not have done things to become successful, but you have the potential for success because you are a strong person. You are a capable person. Come to Vedanta. Now what? Strength means will, strong will. Now to learn to drop that will when you are doing Shravan. That's the difficult part for many people. Drop that will. Just to where is your will used? If you are going to use your will, you will imagine things which is not there, which is not said. So the art of listening also is like that. Especially Vedanta. Because karma is will. The more karma you do, the stronger your will becomes. But here, it's so exposing to a pramana. What will is there when you are seeing something? In fact, your will should not be there. In a will you will interpret when you read something. Understand what the tatparya of the person is. Whatever book you are reading. I find it silly. Yeah, tatparya is silly. That's okay. But understand what. Don't try to read meaning into it which is not there. That's also important. To understand the thing for what it is, not to read with a bias.
And validate it.
Yeah, I validate it. Like I ask people. Yes, South Bombay Club. I remember Neeta and all will remember. And Manisha and all, Kamini is not that way. Well, I asked them to read this book. What is that? Eckhart Tolle's Power of Now.
Power of now.
They all came into, Swamiji, this is pure Vedanta only. I said, really? Or are you seeing things which is not there? And Sahaya came up. He said, Swamiji, Tvam Pada tak aa jata hai. Your consciousness aata hai. Consciousness everything nahi bolta hai udhar. He is not saying that. Which is true. So that's what, because you have heard some word or something which is true, all that he is saying up to consciousness is fine. But because of that you can't assume it's all Vedanta, because Vedanta starts after that. You can't assume that. So you can't bring your bias into a pramana. Same thing we are doing a discussion workshop like a semi thing on the Prophet, the book Prophet, in one of the camps. I think it was the Matharan camp. We murdered that book in the process. Because the Prophet has a mystical quality and that has to be kept there. You can't lose sight of that. But people are interpreting too many things, therefore I felt we had to discuss it. So he makes a statement there. Don't say you have discovered the truth. Say that you have discovered one truth. Whole blue. Swamiji, how can that be? We are all pursuing the truth, there is only one truth. Hey. He is talking about Vyavahara, he is not talking about Vedanta. Whole book is about Vyavahara only. Na? The wisdom of Vyavahara is there in that book. He is talking about Vyavahara, and Vyavahara it is true. Na? As far as the functioning world is concerned, there are many things which are true. Gravity is true. Water boils at 100 degrees centigrade at sea level is also equally true. So which is true? One truth. One truth. You discovered one truth. Those who discovered gravity have discovered one truth. Those who discovered the boiling point of water have discovered one truth. Not the truth. Correct? But because people are used to that Vedanta thinking, that became a bias to look at that book. Can't do that.
So, Swamiji, this is where Vairagya will help, because in Shravanam, to see what it is and not have any. So that's why this.
That's why dropping that will.
Dropping that will.
Dropping that will, dropping interpretations. But remember, your background will come up. You can't avoid it. Your background will come up. What you have read, what life experiences, what has taught you, all that will come up to question the vision of Vedanta. And it better come up. And you deal with it. That's why Manana becomes there. It will come. There will be biases. No? How can you say you're not there? Because to get the maturity to come to Vedanta, you have to have life experiences. Some more, some less. If less means you had the ability to extrapolate from one experience to other experiences. Because nobody can have all the experiences in life. No? Swamiji, you are never parented, so you will not be able to have the maturity of understanding Vedanta. You never fought a battle, therefore you don't have the experience of life and death to understand Vedanta. You can turn it around. But we grew up in a family, so you know what parenting is about. At least the problematic side.
You're validating the bias.
Good one. So you see life and death in other cases, which is good enough. Are you getting that? That is because nobody can have everyone. But you need to have some data for analysis. Viveka Vairagya requires analysis. For that, there should be some data. Thank God in today's world, by the time you are 20, 25, you get that data. Most data comes in by that time. So it's good enough. So you can have a very mature 25-year-old. Provided you analyze the data that you have made. And you're open to other people's wisdom and insights. If not people, books. I'm saying books because sometimes YouTube videos also work, sometimes it doesn't work. So all this involves at least keeping your will in check. It's not giving up your will. It's giving up your will for the time being. That here I let the pramana work. My willing, my wishing, my wanting, So that is how in Shravan. In Mananam, it will come out. It better come out. You can't compartmentalize. No, that is that, this is this. That's like saying in personal life, I'll be honest, integrated, etc. Business में सबका गला काटेगा. It doesn't work. Many of our Indian businessmen function like that. This is business. That is personal. So भगवान का काम सब वो मेरा बीवी कर दी. After all, we are one team, na? How many people function like that? It doesn't work like that. So whatever biases, etc., will come up and you have to deal with that in Mananam. That's why Mananam is kept there. Unless you have enough vairagya, enough objectivity to overcome your bias, to recognize that this bias is coming from here. And therefore the question is coming from here, you can deal with it yourself. Yeah. If enough vairagya is there, you will know. That's the bias. And that vairagya will not come again without exposure in life. If I am not exposed to different cultures, how will I understand that this is my cultural bias? There are cultural biases also. You have to be born in a nice religious family to understand Vedanta. That's a cultural bias. Now, how will the Brazilian understand Vedanta and get so many students and is a good teacher? He's my junior, so I know him well. I know how he teaches. He's a good teacher. He was a hot-blooded Brazilian. How will they understand? They understand. So, how will I understand this is a cultural bias? Unless they get exposed to other cultures. Which is the advantage in today's life. The exposure is more today compared to 200 years back. Where? Compared to 100 years back. And even we are living world within world. See, to understand this, I am digressing a little bit because I want to emphasize this. Let us look at the people who are ashram 96. Okay. Our broker. Mature, competent man, very competent what he does, as a person, very mature, etc. Then Suresh took him for a cup of tea. थोड़ा टाइम था बैठ के बात करेगा डिस्कस थिंग्स to Starbucks, not Starbucks, what is that person called? Anyway, one of those high five. Starbucks only, Starbucks, Chembur में, Starbucks. My God, ₹200 चाय, ते पण मला I had to make it myself.
स्वतःच dip करायचं.
चाय पण. For him, tea is what cutting chai that you get. That is tea. this is also, see, now he's a mature person, nice guy, competent in what he does, fully competent, very helpful, caring person, all that he is. But exposure is lacking, therefore some biases will come in. Oh, we are fine, we don't have a bias. We also have, there are certain exposures we don't have, probably we will never get. Like this man told me, oh, I am going to this, I forget the name of the place, in Saudi Arabia. I said, what is that? I asked him. Oh, it's this newly opened resort in Saudi Arabia. Oh, really? That resort here in Saudi Arabia. I know how much you can upgrade. Saudi is a very, this thing, my wife is very keen on going. It's a 4-day package. For a couple, they charge 9 lakhs. Oh my God, 9 lakh 4-day package, kya ho sakta hai? Do we have exposure to that? We don't have, no? We don't have any exposure to that. So, we can also, how much exposure is also limited, remember this. You can have some openings, some cultural openings, some exposure, but all exposure is also limited. Therefore, you have to not be able to extrapolate from that. One thing will be what? Array, all the fittings are of gold. Okay. मैं practical मैंने नहीं क्या base करने का
Maybe it's all weak. Gold is weak, no?
So, what I am trying to say is a certain amount of exposure to life so that I get enough data for analysis, extrapolation from that, enough data to understand that we all can have a bias. Objectivity starts by recognizing that we can be subjective. Cultural bias can come in. And therefore, developing a mind which is open enough to understand why these things happen. Why is he spending 9 lakhs? How many poor people can I? What about all the poor people that are employed to run that place? If you're charging that much, you have to run it like that. Each room will have somebody who will wash, clean and iron clothes and everything also. To your specifications. So he's employing so many people also. No? By dhanam alone, society doesn't develop. By employment, work opportunities, etc., people develop. So, I will never spend that money. Correct. I will not spend it. Everyone says that when they don't have that money. When they have, they may not. Like somebody said, Swamiji, let's go to the library for a meal. I said, no, donate that money to my trust. Library was a very exclusive, it closed down, exclusive restaurant in Taj.
No bill.
Very,
No bill.
They won't present.
no bill.
You pay what you deem right.
Everything is paid.
Like पूरी करके.
Yeah. You pay what you
Charge.
I said, no, I know what it involves. You donate that to my trust. A lot of work I can do. It was a few years back. So, all this exposure, etc., gets you to come to Vedanta, where you can keep your biases aside. Strong will means strong biases also. Understand that. Because your will is strong. You have done things, you achieved things, and all these biases have worked for you. So, you say you're open to anything. Yeah, either this way or that way it can be done, not an issue. Then, when it comes to Vedanta, you keep that will aside. Dropping may be a strong word for some people. So keep it aside and listen. Keep your biases aside. You'll have it. It's okay. You may even prefer something more than something else. What type of a life would you prefer? Fine. That is your personal choice. That's not a problem. I want only this level of comfort. I don't want that level of comfort. Fine. That's okay. That's up to each one to make a choice. Even if you can afford something more, you want to keep it lower, you want to keep it more, that's all up to you. That's not the question. The question is not to be conditioned by that. That bias means conditioning. It's to be able to keep it aside. Yeah. And keep it as a preference in my life. This is a preference. I prefer it like this. Is this the right way of doing it? There is no right or wrong. Yeah. What is right or wrong? I prefer to do everything myself. I'll make my own bed, etc. etc. Somebody will say, headache, let's have a maid to do that. Okay. You're giving someone employment. Fine. There's no right way or wrong way. What's the right way or wrong way? It's not we are not talking about bringing up children. There you teach them certain independence, certain chores, etc. 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 We are talking about you as an adult student of Vedanta. What is the right way or wrong way? There's no right way or wrong way. If you're teenage children, you'll recognize that very well. Room is so dirty, this, that, etc. It says eyesore. Don't look closer. Point it. What is right? What is the... So to be able to come into that level, to say that, and to be comfortable in different situations. Initially it looks like tapas, because I have to be comfortable in different situations, because it's not the situation I'm used to. But you learn to be. After some time, you're comfortable in any situation. Yeah. Then your bias, etc. doesn't bother you, doesn't become a this. Vedanta sinks in. And that type of a mind doesn't require too much of nididhyasana. Therefore, at no stage is Vedanta connected to a vidhi. I digress around, but the point is this: at no stage is it connected with a vidhi. Then how Tatparyena, every sentence is connected with Advaita Satyam, etc. We will see that next class with Ekega. Okay? Om Tat Sat.